we finally get to meet John. And if you could start by saying a little bit about your career path, including Stritch along the way, and where you were.
Okay, well,
Let's go ahead, start talking. Let us know if you can hear John back with the lapel mic.
okay. Well, I was born and raised in Milwaukee. Grew up in the south side of Milwaukee. I went to Milwaukee Tech High School, and I went to UWM about a year after high school. I worked a little bit. At least I didn't want to go to college. I went to UWM and graduated with a business degree major in finance. And I started working for a company, and I knew I wanted to get an MBA. I had to work and support myself and everything. I didn't have the luxury of having parents or anybody pay for it. So Stritch advertised everywhere, and a lot of people I knew in different organizations went to Stritch, and people were really talking highly of Stritch. And so I went to one of their orientations, and I found out as they were talking it was absolutely everything I wanted. It'd be one night a week, a couple of years, complete a class every 6 or 8 weeks, and I would be working with learning with other working adults. And it seemed to fit the bill. I went to school and I had a great experience here. I met a lot of people. And the best part about, I think, when I was in school is real life problems. I mean, people had jobs outside and they brought in experiences or challenges or issues, and we would work through them. And depending on what class we're, it might be a financial perspective, or it might be a human resources perspective, or marketing or something, but it was a lot of fun. I started working for my company, Lifestyle Staffing, in 1992. I was working for a company right next door to that, and the office manager there kept trying to recruit me. And finally I said, yeah, I guess I'll come to work for you guys. And I worked for that company for just under 10 years. And I decided, and I finished my master's here, and I decided, I either want to do something on my own or something. That was kind of the time for a change. So I approached the person I worked for, and we were kind of a small company then, maybe $5 million in business or something. I think 9 actually went up to. And I offered to buy it, saying if he would finance it. And so we put together this deal, and I bought the company on January 3rd of 2001. And if anybody knows what happened after that, it was just a terrible next 3 or 4 years. I almost lost everything I had. I worked really hard, and for a time I felt like I let my family down and everything, so I'm like, geez, what did I get myself into? But I knew the business, I felt passionate about it, I loved my job. Ever since I started, I loved my job. I get to deal with people, I solve problems, I get to meet with different manufacturers and banks, all kinds of things, I get to see how things are made and produced and processed, and I enjoy that. So we was able to retain all the top management, the people that I worked with for 10 years or 12 years at this time, and we made it through that tough time, and we took what we had developed, this on-site program, this special program, and we took it nationally. We first approached some local companies. Briggs & Stratton was the first one, and they gave us an opportunity at their plant in Jefferson. Huge contract, and we replaced, I think it was Deckel. I'm not even sure who was a national competitor. And it was comical because I had a brother-in-law that had worked for Kelly Services at the time, and he had called me after the first 2 rounds of meetings, and we were sitting in the lobby waiting for our turn to be called, and kind of looked around and I thought, geez, all these guys are really tall, good-looking, have really good-looking presentations, so I hope they really look at the meat of the product, because I'm not going to compete on that. So he was telling me that they were all kind of making fun of me, saying we never heard of Lifestyle Staffing, and I said, okay, well so I went back and told all the staff how they were kind of making fun of us and all that, figuring I'd get everybody fired up. And so we went in there, and I figured out we had a PowerPoint presentation and all of our ducks in a row, and right away we figured out who the decision maker was, the real decision maker, one of the regional vice presidents, and he just started asking us questions. I turned off the PowerPoint presentation, and they grilled us for 2 hours. And at the end of the conversation, I thought, well, I think we got it. And he said, well, we didn't go through this, and this. I said, yeah, but he asked the critical questions. He asked about our numbers. He asked about the return on investment. He asked about what we're going to do differently in all these different areas, and then experience. And we didn't talk about, hey, we do a better assessment, we do this better, we do that better. He just asked really important questions. What if I were in his position, I would want to know. So they awarded us that business, and they gave us a couple of other plants. We ended up opening up a plant for them in West Tennessee, and then we also did business with them in Georgia. We did the Stamper plant, the Briggs & Stratton, Walmart plant. And then I got a call from somebody I met in Madison, a gentleman who was an HR manager at a company up there. And he said, I've taken a position with Rubbermaid, New Rubbermaid, and we need 200 people in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Can you help us out? I'm like, sure, I've never been to Tennessee, but thinking, of course I can help you out. So I get in my car, drive down there, figure out where it is, and at that time we brought just under 300 students in from overseas, Eastern European students that we were going to put to work at other places, and we just took them all down to Tennessee. Kind of interesting culture shock in Middle Tennessee, but they did an excellent job, and they continued to give us more business down there. Then another company we did business with, I knew they had a facility in Virginia. I approached them and said, hey, we have this product, we have this program. You know, you have faith in us. We've done your facility here for a while. We went out to Virginia, and then it started to snowball. People heard about our business, and as customer contacts left organizations, they would call us up and say, hey, can you come over here and fix this? Can you do this for us or do that? And along the way, I think what made us, and continues to make us successful, is I work with such a great bunch of people that are good people, first of all, real good people, make good decisions, but they're just fun, and they enjoy doing what they do. You know, I try not to hire people that are miserable or complain. I like to make it a fun place to work. I'm flexible. So working parents that need time off, not the case. I don't want them to choose between their job and their kids. I have kids too. I don't ever want to I didn't need any more stress when my sons are sick from the job. So I'm never going to stress anybody out about that. I did find out when I went from being a peer to all these people to being their boss, you know, I still view myself as a peer. I'm not really the peer anymore. So a lot of times if I would say something, they read way too much into what your son doing, well, that means I should get to work or something. So I had to back off a lot of that for a while. Just remember, I'm still the boss. And that was a role I was not used to and not really comfortable with. I still wanted to grow the business and do what I do. So again, we continued to grow through the 90s. We moved into Ohio, or 2000s, moved into Ohio, Texas, all over. And our people absolutely make the difference. I pay people well, but I pay them probably double what my competitors pay, but I probably get triple worth of the work. I don't like to manage people. I like to lead and do programs and put that together. Leave that for other people. Don't want to hire people that have to be managed. We have a common goal we work towards. We're very team-oriented. So business continues to grow. We continue to expand. I was contacted, I think, last year. Just to come out there, which I was happy because I hadn't heard much from Sears before that. And my office, my headquarters, is right on the UW campus. So it's all red all day, all the time. And, you know, I'm a Badger fan, but I don't bleed Badger red like everybody up there. So I was kind of excited. I thought, all right, good, because I see the Stritch signs on the west side and east side all the time. So I was excited.
If I could pick up on one of the things you said, you know, one of the threads for this speaker series of business leaders with a conscience is how decision-making, how leaders align their decision-making with their values. And you began to talk a little bit about the way you treat employees, but I know from talking to you there's other ways in which you really infuse your values into leading your business. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, you know, first of all, we're in a unique position, so I work with a lot of really large companies, so I see how they operate. And I was surprised at some of these big companies that I thought, wow, those are dynamite things, dynamite people. Once I got to know a lot of the people in the organization, I was surprised at their culture and how they did invest in you know, local people. A lot of times the executives or senior management would be there for 3 or 5 years and move on, so they'd have no leadership in that community. Also, they really didn't have input into how operations were and stuff. They were basically just caretakers in our organization. And I thought, you know, I want good people. I want to have faith in the people when I hire people, and I want them to feel comfortable to make decisions and make mistakes. You know, I'm not going to let anybody go because they make a bad decision. Our thing is kind of do something. Don't just stand there and do something, even if it's wrong. Just do something. Make a decision. So hire these new people, but also treat them real well. And it's not always just money, you know, benefits or something like that. It's the flexibility. It's kind of other things, like, for example, we're in the health, trying to get everybody to be a little bit healthier, and so anybody that wants to run any of these rock and roll half marathons around the country, I'll take any staff with us. I took a bunch of people to Nice, France, and it's the first time I was out of the country, and it was a blast. Taking them to the Country Music Fest, which is every June in Tennessee, Country Music Awards, the Rose Bowl, and then it's not, I don't expect anything in return, just like we've helped them with down payments on houses. Anybody that has a baby they've been working from, I'll pay for 100% of their maternity leave while they're off. Because I think it's the right thing to do. You know, they're good people, and I'm so lucky and blessed to be able to keep these people happy and keep them working with me. And I think, what's the use of being successful if I'm the only one that's successful? I want everybody else to reap in that and enjoy that. So I guess it's really important for me. I'm not necessarily a people pleaser, but I like to see people happy, and I like to see them enjoy their job. And I know everybody's family, things like that.
In terms of the relationships with people, one of the things we were talking about earlier is one of the reasons why you dress more casually. And because we have some guests who will perhaps be in the full suit and tie, and John said,
I did buy a new suit. I don't wear it.
You have a suit, but in terms of why,
Sure.
can you talk a little bit about that? That was interesting.
A lot of my business. Well, a lot of my business is in warehouses, manufacturing settings, a lot down south. And I remember up until about 5 years ago, I wore a suit and tie every single day. And actually, 8 years ago, I remember the exact date. I walked into Sharpie Market. Howard Proudfoot, who was the general manager of that facility. I walked in, and it was the first time I was meeting this guy. The regional HR guy sent me down there. I'm a guy from the north. He sends me down there. They don't like that already, to tell them how to do business. So I walk in, and the first thing he does is rip my pen out of my pocket and throw it in his garbage can, and then hands me a Sharpie marker. And he says, "Take your tie off." So I took my tie off and threw it in the garbage right in front of me. And he said, "Don't ever wear a suit coat down here again." I said, "Okay." So, and the more I started doing business, the more I realized, I love doing what I'm doing, and I don't want to distract. I'm not any more important than anybody else. So walking through a facility with a suit on, really, immediately people aren't going to open up and share. So I wear a lifestyle polo usually or whatever, and I'm just John, and so we can focus on what we're trying to do, the program we're trying to put together, the people, not on me or anybody with me. So I stopped wearing a suit. So that's what you call it. I was in Nashville all week last week meeting with people, and I said, "Well, geez, I haven't worn my suits in a while. I probably got to stop. I better get into suits." I went to Nordstrom's and bought one. Then I said, "I can't wear this suit because it's just not me." That's not what I do anymore. I wore one for how many years, but that's just not what I do every day anymore. This is me. I roll my sleeves and do my job. So
Glad you're here and you're comfortable. So, I'm going to transition to another area that we talked a little bit about today too, was about how your decisions are data-driven. And while you talk a lot about relationships, and clearly in the hiring, much of that has to do with building those relationships, you make a lot of your decisions based on data-driven background. You talk about that.
Right. Real life example today. I had a call right when we were meeting, and I took it, and wondering why a company wants us to hire 1,100 people in a really small town. We're up to, close to 900, and we're losing a lot of people. It's difficult. So we pull all the numbers and they say, "Okay, we're going to take a different approach." I know the pay is kind of low. I know Amazon just built a warehouse right up the road, and they're paying a lot more and whatever else. So, but we won't want to go right there at that, because that's going to cost them $500,000 more for the rest of the project. So let's talk about some other stuff. So we're going to lead them along the path and show them what the issues are. So we pull all the job refusals. So we're saying, okay, I think it was 57% of the people, of 600 and some people, refuse a job because of the pay. Let's talk about that, or another job. So let's put that out there. Let's put these numbers out there. So we're going to show it to them and say, okay, well, this is the challenge we're up against. We're also up against, when we start more than 50 people, our turnover goes from 3% to 7% and some other things, but we're going to put the numbers out in front of the customer and say, now you tell us what you want to do. This is my recommendation. If we continue on this path, we're never going to net that number in time to help you out. So we look at that. Data is everything for us, numbers. It's a people business, but we have to understand what the trends are. We have to understand, what the best approach or best practice is, and play the odds. 9 times out of 10, one thing happens when we know that all the time we're always going to make that decision. We're not going to try to think we're smart enough to know when we should make that other decision.
So it's also a people business. That's a big part of doing a lot of hiring. So when you're doing this hiring, can you talk a little bit about the process that you do in hiring these masses of people, and some of the assessments you do, and how that works?
Certainly, and hiring is always a challenge. It doesn't matter what the unemployment rate is or whatever, hiring good people. to work for us is a challenge. So it depends on what types of positions we're hiring for. So right now, again, we're hiring a lot of people to make Shelby markers in Shelbyville, Tennessee. So it's difficult. So we're advertising everywhere. We're pulling in a lot of past employees. I think we're probably interviewing in Shelbyville probably 70 people a day, new people. And of that, we probably hire maybe 40 if we're lucky. And that's a conditional offer of employment. And then by the time we process it, so we give them a thorough interview. We're going to do E-Verify. We're going to give them an assessment. And that assessment is going to depend on their skills, but it might be laying pens to check their manual dexterity or their fine motor skills. It also might be a math test or a coding test, depending on what part of the organization they're working in. Then we're going to do reference checks on them, and then we're going to do a background check, and then we're going to do a drug test on them. So we invest a lot of money. It takes a lot of time for us to do that. So out of those 40, maybe we might put 25 to work, hopefully. I mean, that would be a good number. So it's a challenge. Then we give them orientations prior to starting the job, and then when they start, they're in an all-day safety class and a training class with my staff and the safety team at Rubbermaid. We're real proud of our safety record there. And again, a lot of our customers, whether it's the HR team or operations team, their compensation is tied to the performance of the contingent worker, so it's tied to our performance too, so we're kind of all in it together type of thing. So the more we do on the front end in general, usually the more it helps.
So that was describing your contingent workers, and then you have your full-time staff or in-house.
Yes.
And so if you could talk a little bit, when you're looking to hire someone for your closer-knit group there, aside from a Stritch degree, what else are you looking for when you hire?
Nothing else.
Nothing else?
Well, a lot of things. I guess, but I think I know where you're going on this. One of the things we're looking for is personality. So if we look at competency-based hiring and we look at skills and knowledge, we're going to train the person we hire. We're going to teach them how to interview. We're going to give them the knowledge and the resources to get the answers, us or our attorneys or whatever. But it's that ability that we're looking for, and what we've, since 1996, have been using is a Rembrandt personality portrait. And what that does is that measures the personality characteristics. No right or wrong. There's no right or wrong answers, but there's a profile we're looking for. So internally, we know if we hire people that are assertive, so good communication skills, pretty persuasive, that resilient, have to be very resilient, unstructured, non-nurturing. Sounds kind of unique. It's people business. Non-nurturing because we want people to make good business decisions, not decisions based on helping somebody, but decisions that make sense. Helping somebody is a secondary benefit that they're going to get. And also responsible people. So those are the characteristics that we're really concerned about. And when we hit that model, when we hire people, and it's a challenge, we grow. Now, recognizing that I do that in the corporate office and the admin and support staff, I do try to hire some nurturing people and other things. I'm like accountants, I want them real structured. So we do deviate from the model in the corporate office, and that's why I don't work there that much. I like working with the other model. So I'm out in the branches. But and so we really grow quick. There's challenges like that too, because typically people like that, like me, aren't necessarily big in the details. You can get it 90% done, and then somebody else has to take it the rest of the way. But knowing that we've structured the whole organization that way to take all those details and make them as automated as possible, or support as much as possible. So knowing when we hire this person, this might be the weakness that they're going to have.
So I want to ask just one or two more questions before I open it up to the group. So one question, everyone here in the room, or the vast majority, are in a program now, as you were in your MBA program. Could you talk a little bit about what you learned or took advantage of during your time in school that you find has helped you in your career?
Well, number one was the groups, working and getting consensus, working with a group of people of different different experiences, experience level. Well, I don't know, here it is, different background, and understanding that we all had to come together to finish a project. Also, the instructors all had real life work experience too. So, when somebody was teaching a topic, or when an instructor was there, what they were saying, they were speaking from a position of authority. and so this is how they've done it, or they've been there before and done that, and it really, I think, carried a lot of impact with me, and I heeded a lot of that advice, because, in real business, when you get out in the real world, it's not, you just open a book and look for the answers, and sometimes the answers don't make sense, and so at Stritch, I think I got a lot of those skills, and I was able to develop that.
I'm going to ask one more. So one more question. You talked about you do a lot of behavioral interviewing.
Absolutely.
And you talked about the importance of giving examples. And you also talked about, we visited with a couple of the classes today, and the importance of failure. So I think this question is sort of in line with all of that. Can you talk about a part where you really struggled in your business, a part where you were really challenged or even felt like it failed, and then how that led to further success down the road?
Well, some of the external things that I think failed, or we feel that along with everybody else's failures. The economy going on, I probably would have waited a day before I bought my company. Had I known it was going down south, I could have got it a lot cheaper. But I think a big failure. We took a great customer of ours, and we went into a part of the country. What we do is really easy to understand. We do it all over the country. And we went in a part of the country, and we were just naive as to the climate in that state, that part of the state, and we wanted to make it work. And I stuck with it too long, where it affected our work comp and everything, because I'm thinking, well, why can't we make this work? Our turnover is low. We're not having any issues, but we're having some work comp things where they were small things, but were turning out to be big cost. Should have recognized all the attorneys advertising around it, been injured on the job type of thing. That should have been my first clue. And then that's when I learned about, we drug test and we background check and everything else, but people do a lot of other things that you don't catch on that, prescription pills or whatever else. So I think we stuck with that account too long, and that cost me probably $2 million in increased work comp costs over 2 years. It was my decision. It was a bad decision. At the time, I thought it was a good decision. I thought, oh my God. And part of it was, I thought, it has to work. It's working everywhere else, and we're actually doing one of these exact plants in a different state. We're doing the same stuff. Why are we, why is this happening to us? So finally, just said, who cares why it's happening? We need to get out of here. And we did that. And the customer was really upset. But, we had to look at the long-term thing.
Thanks. Well, it's time to open up the questions. So we stand up so you can see us and hear us. I'll try to walk around with this mic. It seems you might need to project, but you've heard a lot of different aspects of John's business and different parts of his decision making. So feel free to follow up on anything or a new area. So open it up and see who has a question. It's always the first question that's tough.
Great. I can project.
Go for it. If you can stand for our folks back there.
It's clear that John has unique differentiations, but from, say, a marketing perspective, when you first visit a client, what is the primary differentiator that your organization can bring to a new client? The one that has led to your success as
Well, that's an easy question.
How did you arrive at that?
Well, first of all, operate in a competitive environment, just like a lot of other businesses. And, I don't have the luxury of being a manpower that everybody knows, or a deco or whatever. It's my passion. I love my job. I know everything about it. I'm not an expert in a lot of areas. This one area of staffing, I absolutely know it inside and out. This is what I do every day. Every day when I get up and when I go to bed, and I think staffing. The people I work with, the top man, same thing. And I'm involved in the business every day. I don't sit behind my desk and look at a computer screen. I'm on the road. I'm on the phone. I'm on conference calls. It's what I love doing, and that comes through when I'm talking about it. A customer can ask me any question about any part of the business. And same thing, we'll get our client list and say, you want a reference? Call any customer. Ask them about us. Ask them about the type of business we do. So I think it's the passion for what we do. I love it. It's fun. Thanks.
So when you have a question, we're going to have you stand. Are you up next?
Wouldn't ask to get a stand.
Yeah. Just so we have a big group here. Give it a shot with this.
I just wanted to know, is your company set up, is it LLC, an S Corp, or a C Corp, or why?
Well, tax reasons. I'm not a corporate, it's through me. So, I'm not an S, I'm not a C Corp.
So,
Yeah, I'm an S Corp. Yeah, I mean S Corp. I changed it about 7 years ago for tax reasons.
And that's specifically because, is that specifically to avoid 20% employer's tax insurance?
Well, the double taxation of the income that I make. Because I already pay income taxes, then if I took money out of the company, I'd have to pay taxes on that again too, which is ridiculous.
Right.
So I ended up paying so much of my money. I mean, I pay more taxes than you can even imagine, not just on income, but payroll taxes and sales tax and everything else. It's crazy.
So other questions? Oh, we'll go to Minnesota next. We have one here, and then we'll go to Minnesota. Great. Give it a check.
So my question is, I was listening to you when you were basically just saying like, you worked to get where you are.
Yep.
So I want to know, how did you discover what your passion is? Because I'm sure Stritch helped you, get there. So I want to know, how far did you go into your educational career where you figured out what your passion was?
Well, I knew I wanted to go in business after I went to UWM, and I came here and I was able to experience, again, the networking with the other students and people that were working. I knew I liked to talk, and I like really people, and I started doing this, and I thought, wow, this is really fun, and I get to see how things are made, whether it's a pizza or a refrigerator, and distributing the whole e-commerce thing. I have a lot of e-commerce customers, and it's fun. I enjoy it. And so when I was at Stritch, I started, because UWM was just in these giant classes, and you didn't really have any interaction with anybody. And then I got a job, and I came here, and suddenly I'm talking to all these other people that have other jobs. I grew up pretty poor in the South. I mean, nobody, we didn't have a lot. I didn't know any professionals really, and started hearing about other things other people were doing and stuff, and thought, well, I can do this too.
So we'll go to Minnesota for the next question, and I think your volume's on loud, so go for it.
Okay, hi John.
Hi.
This is Liz Reginald, faculty in Minnesota. We spoke earlier. I'm with a class of bachelor students who are in the Communication for Managers course. And I'd like you to talk a little bit about what communication skills they need to be good, effective managers, and what's been effective for you communicating nationally with your business.
Did you say competing nationally?
Communication
Oh,
strategies.
Okay, well, first of all, communication is the key to our success. When we talk about assertiveness, that's really communication, also empathy or listening skills. Being able to pick up on things, like we were talking in the meeting earlier about how a lot of this stuff is online, whether it's education or whatever, and I said, which is great, but one of the things that we stress is when you're sitting in a meeting with somebody, being able to pick up on, they're telling you one thing, but they mean another thing. Or looking at the visual cues that you're getting and saying, okay, I was going to take this tack, but after meeting this person or talking to them, I need to back off and do something completely different. We communicate nonstop to our customers. We're known for that. Whether it's email, typically we follow up with emails, but it's usually in-person communication, and the assertiveness. You have to communicate your point. And I stress this all the time to our people. You're experts at what you do. This is all you do for a living. You hire people, you interview people, you're interviewing hundreds of people a week. You know this better than anybody else. So don't let them tell you to do something that doesn't make sense and we know doesn't work. You have to assert yourself. That's why they pay us. They want us, we're the expert in this area. They want us to tell them what to do. Because if we go in there, this is, the thing I say all the time. I say, if we go into this new customer that they just dumped, let's say a deck or somebody, and we do exactly what they tell us to do, we'll be on the outside looking in a year. We're going to go in there and tell them, these are the best practices, and this is what we suggest you do. That's an assertive thing. That's communication, not backing down. It's not argumentative. It's not mean. It's not nasty. It's assertive. It's saying, this is why they hired us. This is why they want us to do it. This is why we're successful. So, yes, communication is critical. And then internally, we talk every day. We have the FaceTime stuff. We have Skype. We just put a new IP phone system in so everybody's on the same phone system. And then we fly people around and back and forth to work in different offices in different markets. because we do have some offices that are little and maybe there's only one employee there, and I don't like them to feel that they're alone in just doing that. So it's important that they get face time with other people in the organization. So, and like I said, I visit every office multiple times a year, some 2 times a month or 3 times a month. This time of year, I'm a lot in Tennessee and Ohio. So,
And how many states are you in?
about 20.
On the road a little bit?
Yeah, just Sunday night through Friday. It's fun. I bring my dog with me everywhere too. Her name's Lola, and she's got a bone-shaped business card that says Vice President of Employee Morale, and everybody likes that. So whenever things get real hectic, I bring Lola out, and nobody can. She's a Cavalier King Charles, so nobody can. Has that really cute face. So it kind of takes the edge off right away.
With initially securing the funds that you needed to start the business, were the banks reluctant to loan you money to go through SBA or VA?
Well, no, the business was too big to go through SBA or anything. But I worked there for the company, so I was able to get the seller, my boss, the finance part of it. So that, and I took out a bank loan for the rest. And then a couple of years after I wrote it, I went and refinanced it all and got him out of there. So because I guess they had faith, and because I had worked for the company for so long and ran it, so they were able to take the chance.
When you took out the bank loan, did they?
Oh, they owned
put your
it.
house up?
Oh, yeah. Forever. Yeah. You get used to it because even when you've got those loans, every credit line or whatever, you sign away everything. Same thing with our customer contracts. These giant companies put these indemnity clauses and they want to blame me for everything that ever happens. So it's a business risk, and you have to decide, are you going to take it or not? You talk to the attorneys, of course, they say, get all that stuff out of there. Their attorneys say, no, we're not. So it always comes down to, what are you able to accept? What type of risk? And then are you getting paid for that risk?
Hi, Jen. Just curious, how large is your client base? How many employees do you have, and what's your growth strategy been, and where do you see yourself going?
Well, we have about 14,000 employees. We're going to continue to grow, and specifically Ohio we're investing a lot in. It's just a great market for us. We've doubled our size every year for the past 3 years in the Ohio market. So we're going to continue to grow there. Texas is dynamite. And then, if it makes business sense, we'll go anywhere. That's the unique thing about, we're flexible on one structure too. So somebody will call me and say, hey, you want to come and do business with us? And that's how we went into Reno. That's how we went into Nevada. That's how we went into Arizona. The person we used to work with moved out there and said, geez, we have a lot of issues. So you come out here and do it. And, it can seem long term. I take a good person out there and I know that, okay, we're going to make some money, maybe not right away, but we're going to make some money long term. And there's other things that we're going to get in return for that. So, our growth strategy is to continue to do what we're doing. I'd like to see another 25% growth this year, maybe more. We'll see. So,
Okay, we have a question back here.
I work for one of a competitor. I work at Manpower Group.
Mhm.
They kind of the same thing.
Never heard of that.
And I just have a question as far as like leadership and advancement.
Mhm.
With you being a company owner, what do you look at as far as advancement with your employees? If you have an employee who may start out in an entry-level position, what do you look at for that employee to be able to advance into another position?
Great question. The thing I view my organization as, I say, it's pretty flat. There's only a couple of people that aren't involved in revenue producing, and they're all the people in the back office that process payroll, the accounting, the attorneys, people that we don't use the same profile to hire, and kind of boring. Hopefully they won't see this. Excuse me. But everybody else, so even myself, I don't really necessarily interview a lot of people or assign people, but I still do it, so I'm involved in everything. What happens in our organization is we give you as much responsibility as you can take. And they could, I have people that are a couple years out of college managing giant pieces of business for a whole state. So it's on their ability and what they want to do. I encourage it. We have a mentorship program, a leadership program. I personally mentor 3 different people. One of them is running an account right now, and he's working nights, so he'll call me at 2 a.m. for a question sometimes, which is okay, I guess. So that's, I don't want them to be people to be complacent in their position. We hire, again, we use that personality profile. They're pretty assertive people, and they want to continue to grow. So, we have to make that opportunity, or they have to make that opportunity. And I'll support them. I'll give them all the resources necessary. I'll have their back. I'll do whatever I have to do to help them be successful. And I think we have a complete company full of really happy people, and lucky at that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a question. I'm not really sure about your whole business model. So you staff for larger corporations for more, I guess, industrial workers, et cetera? I mean, you don't hit like a middle market, or you don't do executive searches? I mean, you don't have
No,
a
not enough money in that.
market, you
Not
just
enough
do-
money in that, yeah.
Okay.
So, like, for example, Sharpie Market has a back-to-school season. They go. We typically have about 300 employees out there all year round. They have some of their own employees too. In this 3 or 4 month window, they'll need to ramp it way up to maybe 900 employees. The example we use is a couple years ago when the housing market really took a dive. We had a big customer out in Madison, and really great name customer that everybody loved, and they had a reputation, family-owned business, never laid anybody off. And we had another customer almost right across the street from them. The customer across the street from them laid off 50 people. It was huge news in Madison, and everybody was talking about the company across the street had 100 temporary employees that they laid off, and that never made the paper. So they were able to say, they still kept a lot of people, but say, we don't lay off our people once we hire them. So there was an advantage for them to maintain that.
So you hire and then subcontract your hires out? to the
No,
different-
they're my employees. It's not a subcontract. They're my employees. They're just working there. They're the day-to-day supervisor of my employees.
Okay.
I typically have on-site management too that handles any personnel issues or things of that nature. And we'll do counseling and stuff.
Do you do anything internationally, or are you looking at that?
Actually, we're just one China. Person that works for me has been working for me for 12 years, is originally from China. And we are doing some things, not officially yet, but we're exploring them just because of his connections.
We have a question in the back.
My question is, when you first purchased the business, did you have your own plan and direction for it? Or since you was already working at the company, did you pretty much follow the model that you had already?
Another good question. No, I had my own plan. As soon as I came on, I let like 3 people go that I just thought were dead weight. People that used to make us do stuff that had no purpose on the business. And one thing I always remember is when I was in that role, it used to irritate me when people had me do something just to do something. If it doesn't make sense, if it's not part of the business, if it's not giving return, why am I doing it? And so I don't want to fill out a report just to fill out a report. Pull something out of the system. Let me go develop business. So I changed it, and I also changed our focus. We were retail. People come in and apply. We put them for 3 weeks here or 4 weeks there, or whatever else. You're not going to add the volume. You're not going to get the growth doing that, and it's very expensive to have an office like that. Very expensive. So yeah, we completely changed the model, and I took people that I knew really had great ideas and great opinions and gave them a voice and said, okay, can you just take this part of the business and figure out what we want to do with it, and let them do it.
Right, and what about after the first 2 or 3 years where things weren't going pretty good and you had your first big break? Did you stick with the plan that you already had in place, or did you change?
No, we stuck with it. I mean, the only thing that's changed is the technology that we used to drive it, but we've stuck with it. It continues. I mean, we refined it over the years, and because it's not exactly what our competitors do. It's different enough that we're able to grow.
We're going to have time for maybe one or two more questions. Actually, while I come up there, I also want to ask, you work with so many large businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one out there that you have particular respect for, and why?
Sure. One of our probably most famous customers that we do business with is Jack Daniels in Lynchburg, Tennessee. It's not because I like to drink it, but they really know how to run an organization. They know all their employees. Their management knows the employees. They have no time clocks. The first time I went on a tour there, one of the HR reps told me, hey, when you go in there, it's not unusual to see people sitting in the forklift truck reading a newspaper. They get their work done, and we don't. And that's kind of the atmosphere and environment we have here. That company continues to grow and grow like crazy for Brown Forman. I mean, it's a dynamite organization, and everybody's happy. You walk through there, and everybody's smiling. They like their job. They talk about Jack Daniels. I mean, they really treat their employees really well. When they have meetings, and it's not they get 1 bottle of Jack Daniels a month. They call it Good Friday. They give all the employees that, but. They do. It's kind of a neat, it's a tradition that they've had forever, and they continue that tradition. But they treat their employees real well. They listen to them. They include them in everything, including the contingent workers. If they're going to have a party, everybody's invited. They're treated equally. At some companies, they'll treat people differently. Oh, you're from the temp service. You got to park in this slot 2 blocks away or whatever else. Those are the people that we have turnover with. They have problems, and they don't get it. They don't understand that this is. You need to treat people better. You need to treat them with respect. It costs a lot of money to bring people in, and you're going to get a bad reputation doing that. And so that's another one of my jobs and my challenges is to make them understand. But this is the wave of the future. This is what everybody's going to. Whether you like it or not, I mean, this is where it's going. I grew up in Milwaukee, where people could get a job years ago and support their family. Those days are kind of gone. So this is the new reality, and we just have to deal with it. And,
Yeah, I wanted to ask, when you first started your business, or when your business was originally in its infant stages, I was wondering how large was your team of CPAs, and how large was your overall team of consultants?
Just me. I had an audit once a year. I used Subi Von Hayden. I still use them to do my audit. There's another thing too. I took accounting classes here, but that was all I had. So right away I had to learn how to be an accountant. And when you're writing those checks, I still write all my checks on all my payable checks. I handle all the money. I have 2 different people do the deposits. I verify everything. People always say, watch out where your money goes. I do all that still. But yeah, it's just me. I mean, I did everything. I also cleaned our offices in Madison. You do what you have to do. The buck stops here. So, you have no peers, remember? And if somebody else doesn't do it, I got to do it. No matter what job it is, we have an answering service on the end. So sometimes if they can't get a hold of us, the answering service will patch the call through. There's probably 6 people they go through. I still get calls maybe once every other month because I can't get a hold of those other 6 for whatever reason on a Friday or Saturday night. But so I'll take the calls too. So I mean, it stops with me. If I don't do it, nobody else will.
We'll end up with one last question here and a little wrap up.
I'm older, I'm not going to stand up. What happens if you die?
Well, it's a good question. Is that what you mean? I did just go to Romans in the book a couple months ago, so I'm hoping. But yeah, I do have a plan. I have 3 sons, and I hope one of my sons at least will run the business. I tell him that every day. I know one of them won't for sure because he wants to go to school out west somewhere. Threaten him with maybe moving out there and following him. So I have 3 sons, and we have a contingency plan. If something does happen to me now, on what will happen to the company, I don't want to sell it. I don't think my kid, I love doing what I do, and I think they have the personality to do what I do, and they would love it too. I mean, I get to work with so many great people and see so many awesome things, and it's fun. Every day it's fun. Sure, there are hard days like every other job. So my contingent plan, I always tell my kids, you guys are my retirement plan. I can't ever retire until you guys get good enough to start working here. Yeah. So, but I do think about that sometimes.
I just wanted to check to see if Minnesota had any other last questions. I want to make sure that give you airtime. You're good. Okay. Well, one of the things as we begin to wrap up, John, I'd like to share one thing with you. So, something just to share with everyone in the room and with you as well, John. I wanted to highlight something the dean said earlier, and that's we have some pretty extraordinary alumni from this college and from this university. And so this year, we started this series the year before, but I just want to show you some of the people who came to campus that John is rounding up a pretty nifty list. So this is Omar Sheikh. He came early at the traditional academic year. He's the co-owner and president of Surge Restaurant. One of the things we try to do is vary the nights as well, so that people on different nights, everyone's welcome to any of the programs. We had Janice Ochinkowski, who's the managing director at Jones Lang LaSalle, really talking about some of how she broke through a glass ceiling in many ways in her business. We had Jeffrey Speller, who's a fairly recent MBA grad, who's an operations manager at Boyle Fredrickson. They do intellectual property. And he told his story of how he had some challenges and where he's at now. Leonard Peace, may what sound like a contradiction, but he's the public affairs specialist for the FBI. And so he gets out the word in the way they want to spread the word. Lori Craig, who was here just last month. Lori's the Senior Vice President at PNC Wealth Management, and she is also the chair of our Business Advisory Board. And we are trying more and more in all different ways to connect to the community and connect the community here and make sure we don't lose track of so many amazing alumni. And John, you are well placed among this list and of people who I think we as Stritch are proud of, and we really appreciate you coming back. So thanks very much.